How do you believe image consulting and counseling can specifically empower women to embrace their authentic selves?
So, image consulting, when I started practicing it, and actually when I started studying it, um, was one of a very important tool that empowered me as a person. And I was 19 when I started it, and I was still in college in my last year. And I think what it gave me as a woman and as an individual was a lot of discipline as well as different perspectives of myself. Image consulting helps you become a better version of you because you are, your image is you in the eyes and minds of people. And so, image consulting empowers women in a way, or anyone for that matter, but specifically women to dress better, feel better. It encourages them. They become their own kind of motivational boost, and like a pair of heels can change your mood entirely, and at the same time your body posture can also do the very same. So I think image management is the art and science of teaching you and practicing all of these aspects. Now, coming to counseling, it's a wonderful marriage between both of them. I feel through my 13 years of practice, because I feel that one aspect is on your external appearance, and then the other aspect is on your internal state of mind. So it's an appearance and an attitude combination. And counseling, I think a lot of women feel inherently the need to be heard. Men also do. But I think women today have come to a conclusion that yes, we want to be heard and we want to speak our minds as well. But they sometimes find trouble in kind of articulating themselves. So, counseling kind of helps them internalize the process, helps them understand what are the kind of attitudes, their behaviors, their various patterns. What can they do better to, raise a better generation within their families, within their friends around, for themselves as well, to feel confident. Because confident, one aspect, which is through your appearance, your clothes gives you, but your other aspect is through your state of mind.
In your experience, what are some of the common self perception challenges women face, and how do you help them overcome these?
So women face a lot of I'm not good enough, I'm never good enough, मोटी लग रही हूँ, यहाँ से भी वहाँ से भी सब जगह से. A lot of people, of course, weight is a very very touchy topic with women. So their looks are very important. Another thing that women go through with is a very self-sacrificial attitude, that I have to do this for my family, I have to do this for everyone. Like they basically have to save the world. And while as women we have the ability to save the world, I wouldn't say no. I think that the world starts with us. And that's something that I take them through a journey to understanding. That if you have a glass that is empty, उसमें कुछ नहीं है, तो how will you pour? You won't be able to pour anything. So an empty glass can't pour. And women need to understand that they are a very key ingredient in leading. Um, like I'd read this somewhere that a nation actually starts with a woman, right? So if the woman is not feeling good about herself, she does not look good or she doesn't think she looks good enough, she automatically starts to go in a very negative spiral about her whole life. People don't like me, my job's not right for me, kids don't like for me, like nothing is going right, and it's a continuous spiral. So where I come in is I help my clients understand through different integrative personal styles such as CBT and RDBT and transactional analysis. These are all different counseling modalities to help them introspect, to understand that what are your beliefs about you, what are certain things that you have constantly told yourself, because ultimately we are the stories we tell ourselves. So if a woman starts to say a positive story, she also starts to build that belief system in her children, in her family, in her social environment. So yeah, that's something that.
How do you help women reclaim their personal style and confidence, especially in a society that often imposes unrealistic beauty standards?
So I'm a firm believer that you should always do what works for you, and we as a society have formed these beauty standards. But I think when you talk to women one to one, and when they come here and I'm speaking to them, they all have the same thing कि pressure बहुत है, but pressure हमसे ही start होता है, right? So we are the society, and I feel that getting them to understand that we are the society, and knowing that if we start being a lot more easy on ourselves, being a lot more compassionate towards ourselves, and being confident about the way we look, and walking into a space, like say walking into an event or a family event or whatever it is, and if somebody makes a comment, instead of saying हाँ मैं बुरी लग रही हूँ क्या, we say, "Oh, but I like what I'm wearing," very calmly and very composedly, because you do like what you're wearing. That's why you wore it, right? So being okay with who you are starts with you. It's not the responsibility of somebody else to make you feel like हाँ अच्छी लग रहे हो, right? You pick up today what I've picked up. If you don't like what I'm wearing, ठीक है, that's your choice. That's your preference. But if I hold your opinion in the highest regard all the time, then I'm not even giving myself a chance to think about it. So, this is the thought process that I take a woman through in consulting, to making them understand that accepting and being compassionate towards yourself is a very important key ingredient in presentation of yourself. And of course, there are people who come to me specifically to look appropriate and be appropriate and dress appropriate. There are guidelines. It's not like we can say कि हाँ जो भी पहनना है पहन लो, तो फिर why are they coming also, right? But I think to make them feel comfortable, like for example, if somebody comes to me and says that I'm not comfortable wearing Western formals to work. I want to wear Indian formals to work. But my company, rule is Western formals, or everyone wears rather Western formals. I'm going to find a way with her and recommend to her clothing which appears to be formal, which has all your straight lines and good fabrics and looks formal. However, it is also in her comfort zone. So the length of the, say the top is almost like a kurta length or a tunic length, or the jacket she has to wear is of a mandarin collar, which we often call the Nehru jacket, right? So there are certain things that we can always mix and match to make a client feel comfortable in what her personal style is and what the requirement of society at that point of time is. Another scenario could be in a personal space. So, a woman saying that I want to look like young, or I want to look like hot and happening, or whatever it is, but her body shape does not probably allow it. Maybe she feels uncomfortable showing off her arms because she feels that they appear larger, or whatever. So, taking on styles and using fabrics, using colors, to highlight her features or her aspects that she's very comfortable with, such as could be her face, could be her neckline, whatever it is. So I think image consulting allows you so many different elements of design that you can play with to make a client feel comfortable, as well as integrate them into society without kind of making them feel like they're trying too hard to please people. So yeah.
How do you see your role in supporting women's journey towards self acceptance and confidence?
I think I'm fortunate. I'm in a space that allows me to be a very key ingredient and a key role in women's journey, because when I have my clients who come to me, they are almost looking for like a sister, a friend, a counselor, all in one. And they are coming with that look on their face, or the vocabulary that they say to me. I've actually had someone say to me like, "You're literally my fairy godmother. You've got to make this happen for me." And whether it is styling them for an arranged marriage date when they're going to see a boy, or to a woman who I have styled for the wedding, or to someone who's going through a very rough time in her marriage, or at work, or with her children, or just simply with herself. I think the role I play here oscillates between a therapist, an image consultant, and a friend, and above it all, a woman who understands and builds empathy. So I think where I am situated is in a place of empathy, is in a place of understanding, and that's something that I'm very mindful that I kind of exercise and I communicate. And again, it's a lot of question answer. It's a lot of what they want to achieve, what are they willing to put in their time and space, as well as how comfortable are they feeling of pushing themselves and moving out of their comfort zone. Sometimes they need to take on hard calls and setting boundaries with whether it's their spouse or their parents or their children as well, or their bosses too. So I think those are certain things that I teach them, and which is why I, I'm very mindful of the position that they give me in their lives, because they really trust me. So I can't misuse that and just say anything I want to. Yeah, it's a very mindful role.
What are some of the most inspiring transformations you've witnessed in your clients?
So some of them have been very drastic, and some of them have been like a slow process, which is also a good thing. It's not a bad one. Um, I've had a client who came to me after she was someone who was born and raised in a very small town in India. She did not have so much of an exposure of the city of Mumbai, and she got married to someone who is extremely well traveled, the world, and he's someone who is again very social, very popular in and around society. And she was a bit too awkward. Like awkward to ho jate hai, but like she was just way too awkward. She couldn't even speak up. So I remember the first session that I actually had with her. She literally kept on saying, "Mujhe nahi pata hai, I don't know. Mujhe nahi pata hai, I don't know." So 1 hour session went in just that, and whatever I could get a little bit was what I did. But it was a wonderful journey with her over almost 6 months, from training her to speak. And I mean, she did know English a little bit, but to training her to speak in English, to teaching her how to eat at a restaurant, to really showing her, from things like how to use a chopsticks to what is a dim sum and what is a momo and noodles and soup and everything of dining etiquette, to actually, taking her through the whole understanding of how the city life functions. So it was a appearance and an attitude journey both ways through, because she had to kind of change a lot about herself to integrate. And what I really admired about her was her determination, her willingness to actually make such a drastic change. Because she and her husband have a beautiful relationship. They have lovely two children also now. But it was, there were so many moments wherein she was just so frustrated, like heels ke saath kaise chalu. So she would fall down a couple of times because she'd never worn it. She would find certain things so weird, like, is this garment really supposed to be worn like this? Like, why couldn't it just be simple? Or things like strappy and sleeveless were a big taboo, right? So, or talking to people was just never her thing. She would constantly just keep doing this. So, from all of that to today, seeing her be a part of her husband's company, to leading a team, to actually raising her two kids, to speaking, fluent languages, even learning Marathi. So, I think that has been such a wonderful journey to see, because she always, year after year, on my birthday, she'll wish me and she'll just thank me for. She writes it beautifully that, I gave her a new life. I taught her and I was patient with her to, take it through. And I think we became good friends in that process. So For me, that's always a very special case because she came to me when I was also just starting my practice and when she had also just come into play. There have been other people who I've worked and counseled with wherein I've helped through their marriages, helped through their relationship with their parents or with their siblings. And when I get messages from them to say that how their relationships today are thriving, it's just such a good feel good factor. Like it just, I think it's the real award or the real joy that one gets when you hear this. So yeah.
How do you think the concept of image has evolved for women over the time? And where do you see it going in the future?
So I think the concept of image has, from the time when I started consulting, which was 13 years ago, to now, it has changed in a very positive manner. I feel like when we started off, there were still a lot of people who looked at it like, it is only about fashion, or it's only about clothes, or it's only about makeup. But today, I think a lot of women understand that it's about their entire personality. It's about their communication skills, their body language, their thought process, their EQs, how you emotionally are dealing with people. It's a lot to do with everything. It's a holistic formula. And I think that today women also understand that it's very important to manage their images. And image is not just about pretense. It's not about being somebody or not. It's actually about being authentic to who you are within the personal style of what you choose to wear and be. So it doesn't mean that everyone's wearing a blazer and tie and all to work, so you also have to do that. You can wear whatever you are comfortable with, right? Or everyone is speaking in a particular way and using some flouncy vocabulary, and you have to also start talking in that way. That's not what it is. It's about being authentic to who you really are. And so I think women have started to also realize the impact that it has on different relationships in their lives. Women have also started to understand that it is important to take care of ourselves too, to be a full glass rather than being an empty glass. And I think women today have also started asking for that support from their friends and family. So earlier we used to hear about, the woman has to do everything. But I think over many women's days, we have also progressed, to understand. And this is not just something that I've noticed with the city clients of mine. I have clients which are in smaller cities of India. I have international clients as well. I have non-Indian clients too. And I think this is a very international perspective that women face similar challenges across. But it's just that today a lot of them have started to speak up for themselves. They've also started to accept a few things about themselves, which earlier they used to try to completely change. Now they're like okay about it. मैं ऐसी हूँ. And I think so that itself also makes our journey as a consultant easier, because it makes your client more receptive to understanding and being okay, and everything you can't just change and make it new. So yeah.
What message of empowerment do you hope to convey to your female clients?
um I think one thing that I've always conveyed to them, and I would like to convey to more, would be that you have a power of choice. And we forget that sometimes as women. We think कि नहीं हमें तो ये हमें ही करना है. Like nobody else can do it. And we burden ourselves so much. We think that we are the end all and be all. हमारे बिना दुनिया चलेगी ही नहीं, कोई करेगा ही नहीं. But I think if we give people a chance and we give people a choice, they will make a change and choose something different too, which allows us also to take time for ourselves, which allows us to also really focus on who we want to be and how much we really want to do for people. And every time you have a choice, they always tend to go in this abla nari mode sometimes and say, nahi, yaar, hai hi nahi, karna hi padega. We only have to do it. No one gets it. People will get it. Just be patient. Maybe they won't get it immediately. Maybe they won't understand it to exactly the point you want to. But you do have a choice not to do it. You have a choice to do it also. And each choice is your choice. So that's something that I would like to tell people, because most times clients come to me and say, "This is my life and this is how it is, and I don't have a choice." And you do. So yeah.